Hello everyone and welcome back to the Satisfactory Update 6 playthrough. Last episode we were able to automate pretty much everything there is to automate in Phase 1 of Project Assembly. This episode the main focus is going to be getting blade runners, getting some steel set up, and most importantly coal power. Last episode was a bit of a longer episode, so I'll try to keep this one a lot shorter by only doing a few things instead of a whole phase of the entire game. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. Okay, I have arrived in the quartz area. We have two normal quartz nodes, and I think I'm going to set up a nice little awesome sink station here running off of, I think, biomass, since I don't have coal power yet. But the reason I'm here instead of going for coal power immediately is because I do want to get these blade runners here. So we do need to make 50 silica, which means we need 30 quartz total. So I'll just run this miner for a little bit and I will make the blade runners. Alright, I'm back. I have that 50 silica crafted up, and let's research the blade runners. I wonder if they actually changed the recipe. I don't know. Let's see. Equipment workshop.
New equipment unlocked.
Blade runners. Okay, so we do need 3. Okay, so they did change it. So you need silica now. I think this was quick wire before, but I'm not 100% sure. So just make some modular frames and some silica real quick. I do need this to generate 20, and I will be back when I have the blade runners. Alright, now that we have all of the resources that we need, let's make some blade runners. Okay, I wonder if they actually did they nerf it any? No, it seems to be the same. I think they talked about slightly nerfing some items because there's multiple slots now. Yeah, these actually feel like they're the same. So that's good. I'm gonna work on a little starter factory to start sinking some quartz, because early game quartz items you can get a lot of points with that, so I'll be back once I have a factory built. Okay, after deforesting the local wildlife, we now have our power going, which means that any moment now this should be oh, there we go. Actually, wait, no, let's fix this a little bit. Go from here to here to here. Now, I knew that resource sinks cost power. I didn't know that they were they costed that much power. These two sinks, each one is the same amount of power that this entire factory makes, which isn't ideal, but you know, it's what it is. So we have each of these producing 60 per minute, and that's being sent into this merger, and that's being load balanced across all of these different ones. These are clocked so that they each consume 20 quartz per minute, which, in addition to helping out with a little bit of power, it also makes it so we can load balance this instead of using a manifold, whereas before we would need 5 1/3. These constructors? Yeah, they're constructors. Okay. So currently the max consumption is 94 megawatts. I have a feeling that's going to go down once these start producing and update their power consumption. Because at the moment, these things are only 3.3. Yeah, so they're produced. Yeah, so this is our thing is dropping. So we will be able to support this whole factory with these 3 biomass burners, which is all nice and good. Now what I'm hoping is that, okay, so we have all, yeah. So because we only have so many belts and we're producing 200 silica per minute, we can't combine it into one belt, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. You can see our max consumption is barely under that 90. I didn't plan for that, that's just how it worked out. Anyway, why did I go for silica instead of quartz crystals? I can explain that here. Let me just show the notepad. Okay, there we go. So pretty much what it boils down to is that a silica is 20 points a quartz crystal is 50, I can produce 72 crystals per minute or 200 silica per minute based on the 120 input and the 3 to 5 or 5 to 3 ratio that we have with either crystals or silica. And 72 crystals per minute times 50 points per crystal is 3,600 points per minute, whereas for silica it'd be 200 times 20 points, which is 4,000 points per minute. So at max production rate we should be making around 4,000 points per minute, and yeah. Okay, so I unlocked coal power and I realized that we are going to need a lot more reinforced iron plates and rotors if we're going to make those 8 coal generators to start off with and start powering our factory. I need to run, well, I only really need this at the moment, so I'm just going to run it off some biomass burners over here. These need 84.5 megawatts to run this whole factory. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get enough biomass for this stuff. I'm going to run these. I'm just going to place down a thing. And I'm going to hook it to the power, and we're going to run this for a while, get enough resources to build this coal plant as well as redo my copper factory, because we do need these copper sheets, in order to make these pipelines, and as well as the water extractor. So what I'm going to do is make all that stuff, upgrade the copper factory, and I will be back. Okay, I'm back for a little bit of a progress update. I have the updated copper factory going. It is using a normal copper node over here. It is producing, I believe, double the amount of wire that it was before, as well as plates. So I'm still only producing 30 wire per minute, but now I'm producing also 30 cable per minute, since I have these both going into cable. I'm also producing a little bit of sheets. I'm producing 7.5 sheets per minute just because I'm using this excess, but what I think I'm gonna do, I might make it different, but for the time being we'll stick with this. I don't think I need an exorbitant amount of sheets. I'm just gonna have to wait a little bit for these sheets to build up, and I have it running off its own biomass burners because I don't feel like starting the whole factory up. So that'll run for a while, and then I can just go check on my reinforced iron plates, see how we're doing on that, and I'll be back when I have all of the resources needed to make the coal power. Okay, I'm back, and I'm at the 2 coal nodes that we're going to be dedicating to our power grid. This is a lot of coal that it's going to be shoved into power, but we're going to need a lot of power. There is 2 normal coal nodes over here, as well as some iron nodes. These being in such close proximity to each other is why I'm going to use them for steel rather than coal power, as opposed to just using these. And I think there's iron nodes scattered around everywhere, but anyway. The main issue is that even though this area is pretty nice for resources, stuff isn't exactly close by. So there's a big source of water all the way out here, but then you kind of have to get all this coal all the way over there. I think a good middle is probably using these, this little oasis over here for water, and then just piping our coal over here to build our coal power plant. So if we just go over, I think this is the right direction. We just go over, where's my blade runners? Yeah, I have them on. We just go over here to where it is. I'm thinking we build the factory somewhere in the middle so that we can have a nice like look of pipes running all the way across the dunes, right? I'm back with a little bit of a progress update. I have the 8 coal generators placed and the 3 water extractors. You'll notice I'm not where I thought that I was going to be, mainly because I didn't think that I could fit the full scale version of this plant. So the way that this is going to work is if I go all the way up here, we're going to be able to dedicate 480 coal per minute to this plant, which means we're going to be able to run a lot of coal generators, like I think 4 times as many as this. once we get the Mark II miner mainly. But essentially right now we have a Mark I belt running over here, which is not enough to transport the coal from even one of the coal nodes at this point. This isn't a Mark II belt because I just don't have the reinforced iron plates built up enough. I need to make a new factory for those. I'm gonna put that off until I get the miner Mark II so that I can have a dedicated, I think normal node, 2 reinforced iron plates on a miner Mark II so that we can essentially get the effectiveness of if we used a pure node now. I don't think it's really worth it to put a pure node with a miner Mark II on it for just reinforced iron plates. I think something like modular frames would be a more adequate use to that. But anyway, so all the way over here we have a miner that is producing 60 coal per minute at the moment, and it's just being belted all the way over to the ocean. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give this some biomass power, which I really don't have any biofuel on me, so let me just go grab some and I'll be back. Okay, so I got some biomass burners set up over there. Even though it's only one miner right now, I put 3 of them down because once I hook up the water, that will definitely come into play. For water extractors, we're drawing 60 megawatts for just the water extractors, so if that's how that's going to be, I'm just going to run these power lines over here because I'm going to need to get power out of this power plant, obviously. So I'm just going to run all these over here, hook up to our main grid, and hopefully there will be a backlog enough of water to where even if we somehow run out of power before the coal gets to the generators, we should be good enough to where it'll kick on. Now the coal is running on a manifold, which means it will take some time to actually fully distribute into the lane of coal generators, and we even at this point we're only able to fulfill the needs of half of our coal generators since we aren't running a full Mark II belt all the way over here, which is a bit unfortunate, but either way we can simply just either way we're able to just do what we can. And even having those 4 generators, I think, oh yeah, no, for sure we outproduce. I think we over double our current pack capacity when we had our biomass burners running. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to I think I want to here, let's open the awesome shop, and I think that we can get the wall power port. I just want to put one. Can I set it behind the ladder? Like here. I don't know if that's really, because if I climb the ladder. Yeah. Maybe if I do. Actually, here, let's do this. There's a channel here. Let's run it through the channel. So this is essentially a little trick that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just hide these cables. Don't die. Okay, we're good. I'm just gonna hide these cables behind here as much as I can. And then I'm gonna run this out. I'll go out to a pole here, I believe is the best bet, and I do want that to be a straight line. So what I think I'm gonna do is just run cable here to about here. Maybe like one more up. I guess no, I'll just leave it there. So we have that connected, and that's nice and relatively clean, but I'll just repair the wall. Oops. Repair the wall. Climbing up's a bit weird, but whatever. So we do need to wire this into here. And now that that's in there, we should see our water generators kick on. They should be able to fulfill the needs of all 8 of these, even though only 4 of them actually have access to coal, since we We physically cannot supply the rest of them. So yeah, as you can see, we are consuming a lot of power just from those water generators, and once all three of them only really take up about one coal generator, so it's still, that's not good. Forgot about that. It's still very worth it, even with the you do lose some, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of just how that goes. You need to produce power to make power, and part of that's kind of an issue of it's almost annoying sometimes. How do I get this? Oh, I see. This wasn't like a double ramp, that was just a normal ramp. Okay. So now that that's there, I don't want to run this belt back because I don't really need to, and I can't really do it anyway because I don't have the whole other side set up. But once we have this set up and we get more materials, we can double, like we can quadruple the capacity of that, which at the moment should be around, so it'd be 75 megawatts times 4 generators minus 60. So yeah, 240 megawatts of power, which is definitely not enough for many things. But as of right now, it would power everything we built, which is definitely a good thing. But the main restriction right now is just waiting for this coal to get all the way over here. But yeah, so once we are able to run our entire factory autonomously, I can just kind of let stuff sit while I can actually build a new reinforced iron plate factory while the other one's churning away without having to worry about the breaker kicking on and shutting our power down. So this will be enough to just power our whole operation while I'm expanding it, getting more reinforced iron plates so that we can make this into the full-sized power plant, which full-sized power plant should be 16 times 75 megawatts minus, I think it's 120, so it's over 1,000 megawatts, which is nothing to shrug about pretty much. So, and even after that, we can double this further once we 32 minus 240. We're going to be able to get quite a bit of power out of just those two nodes once we get some upgrades. And that's one of the main reasons why I did chose this area as opposed to this little oasis over here. Or no, it's that one over there, but I just didn't think that I could fit that many water extractors in a way that would be clean enough to justify building in that area, and I definitely didn't want to have to rebuild the whole thing. I would much prefer just expanding on what has already been built. So I'm gonna wait for this to go along. There is some more coal nodes over here that we could eventually, if we did need more power and we weren't to the point where we could get fuel power, which fuel does need coal, I believe, turbo fuel at least. So that does need coal. So we do need to keep that other coal. Also, those nodes are a little bit less efficient. We're pulling from pure nodes. Those are impures and normals and stuff. So I'll be back once the power finally kicks on. So I'm going to do a cut and we'll be back when the power's back on. Okay, so our factories have started churning away now. So we now have coal being transported into the manifold, which is going to be producing very spiky power graphs at the moment. But what's really important about these is that we are producing power. We are producing well above the consumption of the system, which means that it's taking a massive load off of the biomass burners up there, which means they're going to be running pretty much not at all, I think. Given that this should be always fed, it should be producing 75, which is enough to power the whole system. So that's nice. We just kind of have to wait. All these pipes are filled with water and stuff. I'm hoping that these generators aren't going to be kicking up off and on. I think if they're going to do that, I think I might wait till everything is saturated with this. Like when the whole manifold is filled up, I think I'm going to wait, like drain the system and then start it back up again so that we are getting a nice clean power graph, because that's something that I do like to maintain if possible, because it means you have to supply enough power to meet the peaks of the consumption. So anyway, I'm going to be back when I have some more progress, probably once this is all filled up and I can start work on another factory and tie this into our main grid without worrying about it shutting down and then having to mess with it much. So I'll be back once we are fully power independent. Okay, I'm back, and with a little help from portable miners, we now have a fully functioning coal power plant. Well, not fully functioning, it's still only at half capacity because we don't have enough iron plates, but anyway. All that's left to do now is run a wire all the way back to our base, and I think I've actually figured out something that might make our production a little bit easier when we get into steel. So I think instead of, if you look at the map, I was going to build steel over here because there was iron, coal, and limestone here. But what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do steel over here, because there is still 2 normal coal nodes, 2 normal iron nodes, and a normal limestone node, as well as copper. Copper is kind of important in this case, since we can make stators and we can make motors and stuff like that with the steel and the copper. So the ability to make stators over here instead of having to I guess there is a copper node over here as well as another limestone node, and it's just very spread out, whereas all this is pretty densely compact. And this impure node we can even dedicate to power if we really wanted to. And if we go all the way over here, we still have our I wonder if there's anywhere over here where we could pull water from for this to make coal power over here. But anyway, I'm gonna leave these here just in case. But let's go run a cable back to our main base. So I'm gonna do that, and I will be back once we have our factories running up and going again. Okay, so we are actually producing a fair amount of power now. So I have all of the belts replaced with Mark II. I mean, these aren't replaced yet, but that can come later. But we have all these coal generators online finally, all these water extractors online finally, and we can start actually going and building more factories now that we have this increased production of 300 megawatts, which is really good. So I think the next objective is to go back to the hub and figure out what we actually want to make, what we actually want to build. I think the next step is probably steel, but maybe there's something like a little interim thing. Actually, I think modular frames we should get automated before we go into steel, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the buildings and stuff we're going to need to make are going to need modular frames, and not having to manually craft those every time would be beneficial to us. So I think the game plan is probably going to be check the hub, see what we need, and if we can probably automate modular frames and then save steel for another episode. And I think I didn't really show much of the progress on the power plant, mainly because it's a very simple build, I would say. But I think modular frames, we can definitely spend more time kind of going through the process of building that factory, just as a little change instead of just jumping around. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go back to the hub, and I am going to find out what we need and find a node that we can actually start building on. Okay, so right away I'm looking at the things we can actually purchase. So steel and advanced steel production is definitely what we're going to want to get into. So basic steel production I want to get online so that we can actually get advanced steel production going. Now, basic steel production we can afford. We just need to go grab some more wire, so I'm just going to dump all this stuff in. Rest in peace all of our modular frames, I guess. But yeah, that's what I was talking about, with everything needing modular frames for steel. So let's just go and grab that copper sheets. Actually, while we're here, we can drop off our old copper sheets. Grab some wire. And then go back to the base, get everything going. Space elevator is just chilling over there. I might make a dedicated area for it, but to be honest. Okay, so we're here. We can launch basic steel production and foundry. Yeah, so each foundry is going to take, yeah, get out of here, Ada. Each foundry is going to take, not reinforced iron plates, modular frames. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of future proofing. I want to double the capacity of our reinforced iron plates, but I don't necessarily need to right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a pure iron node. Let's see, do we have one here? Yeah, we're going to have to find a pure iron node, which I think there's one nearby. And we can essentially make a factory right now that works with Miner Mark 1 that can produce all of our modular frames, and then a factory in the future that we can just split off, similar to how we did over there with the rotors, where we can essentially just double our ability to produce resources. Yeah, here's a pure iron node. I don't know how I missed this one, to be honest, but we'll just mark it. We'll just mark it, and I'll start to do a little bit of planning on how we're going to actually allocate our resources to see if it happens in a nice manner to where we can just, where we can cleanly make our modular frames. So I'm going to go do a little bit of planning, and I will be back. Okay, we're back. We have all of our power going. I was actually able to replace all of the belts, so that we're not replace all the belts, but like get everything going. So we're now producing 600 per minute. I also kind of got a little carried away with the production of not heavy modular frames, just normal modular frames. So we're gonna go over there and check it out right now. I am over here because I'm moving the hub. Since we're going to be working on steel a lot, I don't want to have to keep crossing the desert every time that I want to upgrade something. So we're going to be moving the hub over to where we're producing steel. And for the meantime, I'll just kind of walk through this factory. So we have a miner on a pure node that is going into a splitter, so that when we actually have the ability to get a miner Mark II, I'm going to split this out into an upgraded reinforced iron plate factory. But for now, it's going over here into 4 smelters. One of the smelters is being turned into iron rods, and those iron rods are just being sent into the final assemblers. But the rest of the journey is going over here. It's being merged into a manifold where we're producing iron plates and we're producing screws. We have we only really need 90 screws per minute, and however many iron plates per minute that is. But we send these over into producing a total of 7.5 reinforced iron plates per minute. I have these clocked at 75% each instead of one at 1 and 1.5, so that we can actually do the splitter setup instead of a manifold, which in reality it would have pretty much functioned identical to this because we only have 2 of them anyway. But this way it's technically load balanced. Then they go into a merger, come all the way over here, where they go up to be spread into this, again, nice little load balanced area where we have it, each of these clocked at a certain rate, so that we're producing a total of 5 modular frames per minute. And we have our rods coming in too to split up into the 3 parts. So at a total, we're producing 5 per minute. I don't think this has gotten up to full speed yet because I think some of the manifolds still need to catch up, but I could be slightly off with that. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, no, some of the... Actually, maybe not. I don't know. We're almost there. Almost at 100% speed. If we go over here, we can see that we have a nice little buildup of stuff going so far. I can just top off my stack in my inventory. And anyway, we're going to be going over to the area where we're going to be producing our the coal power, which is going to be over in this area here, since we have, or not coal power, steel. Since we have some iron and coal nodes as well as copper and limestone, it makes it a pretty perfect area to start getting into stuff, eventually producing stuff like motors, which is going to be pretty useful for stuff later on. So we're gonna run over here. I'll show you the progress on getting coal power upgraded, because I have been getting the belts run out a little bit. So we're almost to the point where we could build another half of the coal power plant, but I don't think it's really necessary yet, as we're gonna have to do a major overhaul once we get Miner Mark II, as well as improved logistics. So I'm just gonna build the hub over here. I think I can build it on. Oop, that's the man. Okay, so we have the hub built. It's all good. And so the first thing we're going to be going towards is this advanced steel production, mainly for this Miner Mark II, but also a little bit differently. So pretty much my goal right now is to get this unlocked, and I do have to run all the way over there to get more items, but regardless, our goal is going to be Logistics Mark III and advanced steel production right now. Improved melee combat is something we could just get, but we're not really doing a lot of melee, so let's work on getting our steel set up. So I'm just going to go over to the iron. I'm going to do a little bit of steel basic setup, and I will be back once we have that steel being produced. Okay, so I am back and I have this very basic steel factory going. So this is pumping in a total of 120 coal per minute and 120 iron per minute, and because of that we're only producing 120 steel per minute, which we can double once we get Miner Mark II, but for now we just have it going into 3 slightly underclocked forges, and I'm dedicating 90 of the 120 into steel beams. The main reason that I'm doing so much into steel beams is because I know that we're gonna have to replace all of that belting with tier 3 belts. So because of that, I just want to get a nice supply of steel beams going. Our iron is almost to the area. We have a little bit of it going in. It's getting balanced out. We haven't kicked on the power quite yet because we don't need to. How much power does this actually use? 60 megawatts. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. Which is good, I guess. Oh wait, no, it's probably less than 60 since this stuff is underclocked. Anyway, our iron is almost here. We just have to wait a little bit more. And then this, once this is all to the splitter, we can kick on. There we go. Let's kick on the power. All the items should start flowing, and we can get our steel production underway. Oops. Connect that up. Now this is a little 1/4 splitter because we have 40 coming out of here. It's going into 20 and 20, and this is going into 10. So really, oh, this is backwards. I'm realizing. Oopsie. This is backwards. This needs to be a splitter. This needs to be a merger. Yeah, okay, so we need 1/10 going, or 1/4 going that way is essentially the idea. Which means that we need 20 and 20, 10 and 10, yeah. Okay, now that we have that all settled, this will start going in there. And these will start pouring in to these, where we have 45 per minute on each one. Which means this belt is carrying 90 per minute. which that's all good. I'm actually gonna go grab the hub and bring it over here so that we can get some upgrades going. Actually, let's just check the hub. Okay, so we're back at the hub. We do need a few more things. We need 200 pipes, 200 rotors, and a bunch of wire. So I think I'm gonna track this. We're also gonna want to get Logistics Mark III, which means I'll just have to stop at the concrete while I'm there as well. So, okay, we're back and we have all the resources needed except for the pipes. So I'm just gonna drop these in so that we know that we can get all that. Just run over and see how our pipes are doing. It's probably not up because I'm pretty sure we need to wait 10 minutes total after starting that factory to actually get the pipes. Enough to actually get advanced steel. And once we have advanced steel production, we can get, I think, is this the one with Miner Mark II or is it, I don't know. Anyway, when we get Miner Mark II, we can double our production of steel as well as produce all the other different types of things that need steel. Like stators and motors is something that we're going to definitely need to be producing. Anyway, how many pipes do we have? We have just enough. Perfect. Logistics Mark III I don't think needs pipes, so that's good. Unless I'm wrong and we'll find out, but... Anyway, we're making quite a bit of progress. We should be able to get a lot of stuff, and our modular frame factory is producing a lot more than I thought it would. I guess the demand for modular frames wasn't as high as I thought it would be, and I do mean it is definitely less than the standard like reinforced iron plates, but having a backlog of those is always nice. We now have advanced steel production and we can now work on Logistics Mark III, which we do need more pipes for. But we also have the Miner Mark II, which is very good. So I think we've made enough progress for this episode. We got started with steel, we got our coal power going, we got all that stuff. I think I'm going to end it here so we can have a little bit of a shorter episode. The last one was quite long. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff. Next episode we will definitely be making a more advanced steel production, getting all these stuff unlocked. I'll probably go back and just unlock these for no other reason other than completion, right? We could play around with trucks and tractors, but I don't know, I haven't really been a fan of them too much, but and all as far as hypertubes and logistics and all this stuff, we'll get this done next episode. We might not quite get to completing phase 2, just depends on how everything goes, but maybe we will, maybe we won't. But anyway, I'll see y'all in the next episode.